Yo, welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. We're your host, Cohn and Jason Aponte. Title of the episode today is Good Jimmy versus Bad Jimmy. It's not what you think. It is not a Jimmy Garoppolo bash fest. We're going to phrase it like this. The Jimmy Garoppolo experience. Remember we were kids, that commercial, the Mike Vick experience?
Yeah, I do actually. It's one of the best commercials ever, actually, for Nike.
So same concept. It's a roller coaster. It's some good, some bad. It often ends up being fun. So bear with us on this, and we're not going to get there right away because big game coming up. It's 3-8 Seahawks, but it's still the Seahawks, and it's a big rivalry. They kind of have the Niners number like the Niners have the Rams number, and the Niners are limping into the game. No Debo, no Warner. Which loss do you think is bigger for this team?
There's no right answer here, and you know, obviously, what Deebo Samuel is providing right now is stability. Asking him to do anything, and he's performing. Anytime they need a big play, it comes from him. But I'm going to say Fred Warner, and here's why. That stadium gets loud, very loud, and that defense needs a calming presence. Even if you want to say whatever you want to say about what you think about what Fred has been doing this season, what sort of season he's having after his contract, all of those things. I love what Azeez Al-Shaair is doing. Clearly, you guys know that, but it would be wrong of me to just say that Azeez Al-Shaair is just going to step right in and be able to duplicate what Fred brings to this team. So when that stadium gets loud, when, you know, I've had people describe it to me as like you feel it in your chest, like that and for Fred to be there and say, stay calm, do your job, like stay calm, don't let it get a little bit out, because the biggest factor in this game is not the crowd, it's the fact that I probably have no doubt in my mind that Russell Wilson is going to play the best game of his season somehow against all odds, even though he hasn't all year, right? Like, I mean, he's literally the only quarterback. Yeah, he's the only quarterback that I've ever seen that can be terrible for 3 3/4 of a game. And literally that last drive is the time where all of a sudden he knows how to do it. And you saw it in Washington.
Like, Tebow can do that, but Russell Wilson's the good version.
No, but Russell's done it for 10 years. He only did that for like a few games, right?
That's
so
true.
like with Russell Wilson, he can throw 4 interceptions in a game. You give him one shot at the end of the game, you're probably going to say, oh, it's done. Like
he almost pulled it off last week.
Right. So who watched that Washington game and saw him get the ball and say, here we go? And
I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. It was kind of amazing that he missed that 2-point conversion. That was weak.
He had DK wide open screaming behind the back of that line.
All game.
That's a whole
anyway. Strange.
That's a whole other discussion. Yeah. But yeah, I look. I cannot understate what Deebo Samuel is doing. Right. I want him discussed as the MVP. I just think in this game right now, for this situation, for this team, for who the Seahawks are to the 49ers, I would like Fred Warner to be there because I'm not as worried as about the 49ers offense as I am about their defense in this game, especially with the loss of Fred Warner. Doesn't look like D Ford is going to play in this game. Dre Greenlaw is not going to play in this game. You're going to need a very solid game from this defense. You cannot allow those back-breaking third down runs. You cannot allow coverage busts on the back end. You cannot allow miscommunications. You can't let this team hang around, and that's where I'm at with it. Could be wrong. I'm sure everybody's saying it's Deebo, but in my eyes, I wish Fred was ready for this game.
You made a great case. I wasn't going to say Fred, but you made a great case. I'm going to go with Deebo here. Just that's how I feel, and also someone should make the case. The way I look at it is, it wasn't that long ago that you and I were in Chicago. It was a month ago. Like that game, I don't think they would have beaten the Bears without Deebo Samuel.
Saved the season, saved Jimmy's job.
Yeah, like that was just a month ago. And I know the Niners have improved since then, but in a lot of ways, he's been the whole team. And a lot of people are getting credit on this team right now. Kyle Shanahan for figuring out his identity, and Jimmy Garoppolo for his big throws on third down, and everyone. But like really, Deebo is making everyone look great. And I'm curious to see what this offense, what the whole team looks like without him, because the offense has been protecting the defense by controlling the ball. I mean, really, and he's been the offense. So last time they went up to Seattle, they didn't have Deebo. That was last season, and it went all bad. And that team wasn't that great either. So I don't know. I guess this Deebo thing, I'm concerned. Like, where is the big play coming from in this offense? And can they really survive without it? Because Seattle gets the big play at least a couple of times a game, even when they suck. So I don't know. I mean, it could come down to turnovers like it did week 4. But if it doesn't, I have the better jacket, Barry Baller. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
What? Well, all right. Here's my pushback to that. If you would have said this game was happening let's say right after that Bears game,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I would feel very much like you. But
Yes.
Brandon Ayuk is ascending at the
Good
perfect
point.
time. And I mean, there's no right time to have
point.
Deebo Samuel injured. Don't confuse that. But the way that Ayuk is playing, and obviously Kittle's going to be in this game. Kittle wasn't in that last game, in that Bears game. I just think that there's enough, right? There's enough to get it done. Like you can turn Ayuk into that bit of Deebo, role, like those tunnel screens behind the line of scrimmage, some of those end arounds. They even tried it last week when Deebo was there. So I'm not trying to understate Deebo Samuel at all.
Yeah.
But I think that if there ever was a right time, there is never a right time. If there was ever a right time for Deebo Samuel to miss a game, it's right now during the time that Brandon Ayuk is ascending in the way that he is, and he can shoulder a little bit more right now.
Okay, I'm going to do one more rebuttal and then we'll move on. It just seems to me that unless Elijah Mitchell has another 27 carries in him, then Deebo Samuel's absence means more Jimmy Garoppolo, just more Jimmy Garoppolo. And he struggled against the Seahawks, and he won't have his best player. Like, he won't have his best player, which can only have an effect on him. So, I don't know.
I hear you on that, and that's my fear too as well. Like I wouldn't feel as I feel that point 100%, and I wouldn't feel as nervous about it if Jeff Wilson was playing a little bit better,
right?
Because like
you could control the game,
right. If you notice, Deebo Samuel is the guy that's right behind Elijah Mitchell in terms of touches, and that really speaks to the confidence that Kyle Shanahan has in the guys behind him right now. Now, if Jeff Wilson steps up in this game, that would be great.
Yeah,
Jeff Wilson. This might be it. Like this would be the week for it. But I agree with you on that portion. And you're right. It is going to be a little bit more on Jimmy Garoppolo's plate. He's going to have to make plays in this game. He's going to have to make throws. They're not going to be able to do what they think they're going to be able to do. And if they do, great. I'd love to be wrong on that. But no matter where the Seahawks are, throw out everything that you saw for the last year and a half with them. Whenever they play the 49ers, it always somehow becomes their best game. We're talking about at home. I think that entire team understands what they're on the preface of, which is the end of an era, and also having the 49ers effectively end that era. So I expect them to come out and play well. And for one more thing that I wanted to say, I guess this is kind of backing up your point. Seattle's defense is actually all right. They're actually playing okay. Like, they're not the reason. The reason this team is struggling is because Russell Wilson can't throw to wide open guys. He just wants to throw moon balls all the time. And that's the part that I think that 49er fans should, worry about a little bit more, is that if you really think this defense is that bad, they really aren't that bad. You can score on them, you can move on them, but they're solid. They're not the reason this team is bad right now. They're not.
Also, the Niners played the Seahawks earlier this year. Russell Wilson was bad and won by 6. He's tough. He was bad. I was watching last week, like, what happened to you? Almost won it. I mean, if the dude hadn't lined up, honestly, if Nick Bellore hadn't lined up,
49ers legend,
they probably would have won that game, because then Russell Wilson would have gotten the ball one more time, and what would have happened?
It points to one thing too, also, that 49ers fans know all too well. Every single break goes Seattle's way in any single game ever. I've never seen
Seattle.
I've never seen a team get everything go their way. Like, it's literally only not gone their way like 1 or 2 times, which was the Super Bowl with Malcolm Butler and 2019 Drake Greenlaw, the stop. Everything else, anytime that there's a 50-50 play, it's always the Seahawks way. Anytime there's a 50-50 call, it's always Seattle's way. I've never seen a team be gifted more things than the Seattle Seahawks, and I have no explanation for it. I have none.
You sound like Evan Hill right now.
I can't wait to dunk him after this game.
The people want to know, what kind of jacket is that?
Whatever. It's an H&M jacket.
I like H&M. Hey, hold on. I got a lot of nice stuff from H&M.
That's what I'm saying. But all right, so here's my trick with H&M.
Shout out H&M if you want to sponsor the show. I like, they make good stuff.
It's fast fashion. It's fast fashion. So what happens is they take what's going on in the runway that you're paying whatever you're paying for, and you pay less for it, so you're in season. That's why you wear it for a season, you move on, you go back and you buy it as cheap.
It's like $30-$40 usually. Yeah. Anyway, H&M is the bomb. This is a derby jacket. If you're out in the Bay, they have a store on at the Haight-Ashbury. So anyway, they're kind of classic. If you're from San Francisco, you probably know what I'm talking about. Jason has no idea, but that's okay. Rich Bonsall says if they send DK at Norman all game, it's going to be ugly, very ugly.
Let's save that. Let's save that for, because we have a whole topic. Appreciate that donation, but we have a whole topic on that, because I've got some things to say about Josh Norman.
All right. No, we're on right now.
There we go.
Right now, the Josh Norman debate. he's leading the league in forced fumbles, and it feels like he's leading the league in defensive pass interference penalties. He's committed 10 penalties this year, and he's not particularly good. I mean, his method of coverage is hold, So, but he's also, was he knocked out? Six fumbles?
Yeah, 7.
Is it worth it? 7. Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Clearly, to Kyle Shanahan, it's worth it.
Yes.
Here's something that I want to point out real quick. Trevon Diggs, who everybody loves, has so many interceptions. Also leads the world in catches receiving yards and penalty yards. He has a lot of penalty yards.
Wow.
So he giveth and he taketh, right?
Giveth and taketh.
So what would you take? And here's the example I'll give you. Trevon Diggs gives up a catch that puts the other team on the 1.
Uh-huh.
But then they go at him again, and he intercepts the pass and he runs it back 99 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He give it, he take it. What's the trade-off, right? Here's my fear with Josh Norman. Here's my fear. There's one game where he just gets torched, and he doesn't knock the ball out and do anything. I mean, look, even this past week.
Could be this week.
Even this past week.
Next week.
He forced a fumble. They didn't recover it.
Right. That's right. He did. He knocked it out. Yep.
So you knocked it out, cool, but they didn't get it. Now, I watched them hold Justin Jefferson and then get baked. How do you hold the guy and then still get beat? How? What? Okay.
Yeah. How?
One more thing I want to point out too that really bothers me more than anything, aside from the holding, aside from all that. Josh Norman goes rogue. Meaning, there's switch offs, your responsibility. This man's just like, oh, I'm supposed to be in the flat. Nah, I'm gonna run to the middle of the field. I'm supposed to switch this off with the Mo Alley Cox touchdown against the Colts. Oh, I'm supposed to switch this off with Tart. Nah, I'm gonna go play the run.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp.
I'm gonna make a play.
Right, Cooper Kupp on a wheel route. K1 Williams is telling you, like, with the hand signal, this is yours. Nah, gonna run to the third quadrant. My problem is what happens when he doesn't force a fumble, force a turnover, and the entire game he gets baked. This is playing with fire with Josh Norman. This is my fear. But it seems Kyle Shanahan is cool with it and wants to live with it. So it doesn't matter what I have to say. That's just my fear, that it's going to rear its ugly head at the wrong time. And the trade-off that you've been giving him, and you haven't been checking him either. That's the other thing too, Kyle Shanahan. You have not been checking him for his blown responsibilities, for his continuous penalties, because he peanut punches the ball out. It's a very funny thing, right? Like, it's a very funny thing. Brandon Ayuk's not running fast in practice. I need more from you. Trey Sermon, you're not doing something. You go on special teams.
Diamador Lenore made one mistake against the Packers. Out.
Josh Norman, blowing assignment after assignment. You don't even have to be a film guy to see it, right? Like, you don't even have to know X's and O's, coverages, anything like that. Watch other guys direct him and tell him this is what you need to do, and him go, don't give a, I didn't want to curse at you. Don't care. I'm just going to go do this. That's my fear, is if he's not turning the ball over and he's getting baked over and over and over, then it's going to cost you a game. And it might cost you at the most crucial moment. That's the part that you're playing with fire with Josh Norman. Right now.
And when you mean the most crucial moment, like in the freaking playoffs, playing against Tom Brady and Mike Evans, or Dak
Aaron
Prescott.
Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
You're up against Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams is cooking you.
Remember what the Packers did to the Niners? They had no respect. As soon as Aaron Rodgers got on the field, it was deep ball on K1. I mean, deep ball on Josh Norman. It was no respect. I think, at the worst moment, it's going to – and the thing is, if you had been playing Diamador all year, dude might have improved. Josh Norman isn't going to get any better. He's only getting worse.
Thank you. And that's the thing, right? You'll live with the bumps and bruises with Diamador Lenore, right? He's somebody who's playing the game at this level for the first time. Josh Norman has been here for how long? And not only one is diminished, two is just being insubordinate in terms of his assignments.
Yeah, he's freelancing, which you can't have on a good defense. You can't have that.
No.
Now, I know my dad used to tell me that Ronnie Lott would freelance from time to time. That was Ronnie Lott. Okay? Josh Norman can't do that. You're a cornerback. Cover your guy. Cover the right spot. Yeah.
You can't freelance when this pass rush is basically non-existent without Nick Bosa either. Like, you have to be sound in the way that you play right now. Like, this secondary, everything right now is be sound, be steady, because this defense isn't dominant. It's solid. And you can't have any sort of mistakes like this. Look, if you get beat in a matchup, that's one thing. Absolutely ignoring your assignment, what the hell is going on, Kyle Shanahan? Have you checked this man at all? Are you afraid of Josh Norman? Did Josh Norman take your lunch money? What happened, Kyle?
Yeah, how come Josh Norman has all this leash to make mistakes and do whatever he wants, but and he's not going to be here next year, but someone that you drafted who had rave reviews all of training camp can't have that same luxury? I mean, isn't that backwards? I don't get it.
I mean, like Hufanga was out of place on that second touchdown to Adam Thielen. But I'm fine with that because he's a rookie learning. Yeah. He's gonna see that. He's gonna understand that you can't do that again. You can't float too far. And that was just a good connection between Thielen and Cousins. That's it, man. Like I would live with that rookie mistakes. But if you're a veteran, you're brought here to be solid and steady, and you're just living with it because he punches the ball out at this point. And that's the part. You're playing with fire. It's going to blow up in your face eventually.
Yeah, and I feel like every time the Niners go up against a team and they don't go after him a lot, I'm like, well, you kind of let the Niners off the hook. And as the season gets, down to crunch time and the game plans get a little more sophisticated, I mean, they're not going to be going at Mosley. We're going to talk about him in a minute.
So that's my point. Is
they're going to go at Jimmy Ward.
That's my point. So you have two cornerbacks, right? Two cornerbacks. You're looking, and it's not even that and we're going to talk about Mosley because I feel like nobody is, but you're looking at two cornerbacks, and they're choosing Josh Norman. They're choosing to try Josh Norman over and over. Why is that? He's diminished and he's not doing what he has to do, and that's on film. If I notice it, other teams
and the penalty waiting to happen.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, but hey, he punches the ball out.
Hey, that's nice. I appreciate it. I mean, no one else was forcing fumbles for a while on this team. Anyway, let's talk about the other cornerback on the team, Emmanuel Mosley. Everyone's talking about the offense this year. He's really down the list of people getting notoriety, but it seems like he's performing way above expectations.
Yes. I mean, the two people that you never hear anything about on this football team right now, Emmanuel Mosley and Laken Tomlinson. The only time that you hear about Laken Tomlinson is with those two ticky-tack flags that he just got in this game. But nobody's trying Emmanuel Mosley. And he had one penalty in the Colts game. But other than that, when you consider an undrafted free agent, a guy who has to step into that number one role right now, and we talked about all offseason, our biggest fear is, goodness gracious, if Jason Verrett goes down, Emmanuel Mosley's a fine two. I don't know if he can be a one, right? Like, he's not shadowing guys, though. Like that's just never been the 49ers' MO. But he's been great, and nobody's talking about it. And I think that is such a lift to this secondary because Jimmy Ward's going to be solid. Kwasky's going to be solid when he's out there. But Emmanuel Mosley has been great.
Equally solid.
Right? But nobody's saying anything about him.
I mean, he's just as good at his – I mean, like, he's right there with Tart, I would say. I mean, those guys are both, I would say, like, B players of their position.
Yeah.
I'm not to be – I mean, I would say B.
Yeah. No, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's
he's good. That's well above average. You're saying not quite ball.
It's a few things, right? Like, interceptions have to happen when people throw at you. You can't get interceptions when they don't throw at you, and they're not throwing at Mosley, right?
Let me give you some numbers real quick for Mosley.
He's got 4, like he should have interceptions. I should take that back.
Now, this is according to Pro Football Reference.
Okay.
All these places have different numbers, but according to Pro Football Reference, he's given up 29 catches and 51 targets. That's 56.9%. That's nice. 0 touchdowns, and a 74 rating. It's nice. That's kind of actually like really good numbers. That's surprising. That's like Pro Bowl numbers. Wow.
That's solid. And he's dropped some interceptions. He has. Let me walk that back. He has dropped some interceptions. That's fine. But at the same time, where would this secondary be? Because then you would have two cornerbacks that you can pick and choose. Like, look, Jefferson and Thielen just came in here, and obviously Thielen scored 2 touchdowns. One was, Jimmy Ward was just out of position just a little bit. And then that second one was, Hufanga was just a little bit shading to the right. And actually, Thielen's route was actually going towards that pylon. But he has that rapport with Kirk Cousins where he cut it back up the field and Kirk saw him. And you know what? That's a lesson that Hufanga will learn. But other than that, man, Mosley's been great. And I don't think that anybody's really talking about it because that's really what I noticed is people aren't picking on him in the way that we feared in the offseason.
Didn't he have like one bad game? He had one bad game.
The Colts game, he had a pass interference in the end zone, I believe, that like was just a 1 year. Like that was it. That was it.
He had one bad game. He's been pretty much locked down all year. He doesn't have the pick, so he's not getting notoriety, but hell of a player. He should be the starter next year. And probably, I mean, until further notice, he's good.
And when we give
Brock. Remember Shemaine Brock?
Yeah, I do. But when we give people crap. when we give the 49ers crap for missing on draft picks and everything, we have to give them credit when they find undrafted free agents that are key contributors, not just guys on the team that are nice stories. Like, he's a starter. Same thing with
No,
Aziz
what the Niners need to do, in my opinion, is like not take these guys for granted. When these guys don't just be like, well, I can get the next one. Like, probably Kendrick Bourne should be on the 49ers right now, in retrospect. That was a guy you developed, and now he's killing it for the Patriots. Also, I mean, I'm just gonna throw out Trey Brown. I mean, he was pretty good. Although you didn't, let the Raiders gave him all that money. That was a mistake. But that, like Azeez Al-Shaair, he should not go anywhere else. You should re-sign him. That's your guy.
He's restricted, so they'll make it happen. But yeah.
Also, Ross Dwelly. I'm just kidding. You don't even use him.
Where is Ross Dwelly?
I don't know.
I saw in our little Jimmy Garoppolo thing. I'm gonna show you another tight end who actually caught a pass in this game that was not Ross Dwelly, who's supposed to be a blocker apparently.
He's doing good. All right. Last topic before we get to the Jimmy G experience. Trey Lance. The question is, should the 49ers use Trey Lance against the Seahawks? And I'm not trying to be a troll here. The reason is no Debo. And my thought process is no Debo, no explosive plays, no big play. And while you don't necessarily need the big play, to win without the big play requires excellent execution across the board, right? Third down, red zone. I mean, it's tough. You have to have 3 or 4 or 5 really long drives. But with Trey Lance, if they could sprinkle him in, he does represent the big play threat, both with his legs and his arm. I'm trying to think, how do you supplement the big play without Debo? And this is where mine goes. A little bit of Trey. Is that crazy? Are there other ways to do this without him?
I think that it depends very much on how the offense looks and the game flow. And what I'm going to point to is the home opener against the Packers. 1 yard, 4th down, before the half, got to have it. And you call the Trey Lance run to the pylon, you get Trent Williams in front of him, and you get it done. I think that's where you see it. And that all depends on how the offense is moving. If Jimmy has his offense moving and Elijah Mitchell is ripping off run after run and they're efficient in the red zone as they've been, then you won't see Trey. But if they start to struggle a little bit and Kyle starts to feel like, okay, I need a play right here, I need this, then you'll see that. But it has to be one of those goal-to-goal situations. I'm going to point to what Kyle Shanahan said in terms of, here's the thing, right? And this is where I kind of agree with Kyle a little bit on this. Both quarterbacks need rhythm. Both of them. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be in there and Jimmy Garoppolo needs to make a mistake and then get better from it, right? Like, he needs the rhythm. He needs to keep playing to get a little bit better. Same for Trey. Trey can't be brought in there in and out willy-nilly and everything as well, too. Besides that, the offensive line has to block completely different when he's back there. When Trey's back there, they're trying to block really quick while Trey's trying to make a play with his legs. Jimmy's not going to try that. And that's where it kind of gets into trouble. So when Kyle says it depends, I get into a rhythm as a play caller when I have one guy in there. And I kind of agree with him on that part. But I will tell you this, if the offense starts to sputter, let's just say there's a portion of this game where the 49ers need a play and it's a red zone play like that, I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Trey. But I think that the only reason you would see Trey is if this offense is not clicking as well as it has been the last few weeks.
Yeah. Look, here's the way I look at it. With Trey Lance, from Kyle's perspective, how can he have confidence in Jimmy? I mean, you can have confidence in your team, but Jimmy's 1-4 against Seattle. Jimmy's gotten hurt the last 2 times against Seattle. That was this year. So while you feel like you have a plan A that includes Jimmy Garoppolo the whole way and nothing bad happening and an easy victory, what if he struggles? What if he gets hurt again? Like, don't you have to be prepared for those contingencies? And it doesn't have to be like weighing on your mind. What if they just have Jimmy's number? What if this is a bad matchup for Jimmy? I don't know. What if I shut down my run game and Jimmy starts to do bad Jimmy things? What do I do?
You have to. Yeah.
You can't lose this game. You cannot lose this game, Jay. It's out of the question.
This is the biggest game of the year. This is the biggest game of the year for multiple reasons. Obviously, the history between the two teams, but this has always been the litmus test for the 49ers. And let me explain what I mean by that. In 2019, after the 49ers had done everything that they had done and they won that Week 17 game, that team felt like, okay, now that's it. We've climbed the hurdle. Now who are we afraid of? We're not afraid of anybody now. And I think that this team needs to be looking at it in the same way. And this team is always going to be compared to how did you do it against Seattle, especially in Seattle. Winning a game in Seattle would springboard this team to, okay, bring on the Falcons, bring on the Texans, bring on whoever's next. We're not scared now. Now you become that team that everybody doesn't want to play when it comes to the playoffs. So this is the biggest
But
game
if you
of the year.
lose to Seattle for the second time this year, and you
Same
give
old
them,
49ers.
then they would be 4 and whatever. Two of their 4 wins would be against you. Come on, man. You can't lose this game. So if things are going weird, you can't keep Jimmy in there for the sake of his trade value. You got to make a switch. I'm saying Jimmy could get benched in this game. You cannot mess around. He's had some stinkers against Seattle. And without Debo, I just feel like I don't know why we're going to expect the best of Jimmy. That's his guy. He's really played his best with Jimmy on this team. He's put up big numbers with Debo.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to choose to be optimistic here. I'm going to choose to think that, obviously that they're going to try to supplant this loss of Debo with a lot more Ayuk. This has to be a George Kittle game. This has to be a game where George Kittle gets targeted more. You cannot just use him as a blocker this game. I understand the whole idea of what he creates in the run game. Trust me, I do. I understand that. But this cannot be a game where you allow Brandon Ayuk and Elijah Mitchell to take all those hits and continue to be the guy if nobody else steps up behind him, because it better be a Jeff Wilson game back here. But Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to make throws, and you're going to have to find a way to get George Kittle involved in this game. They'll design some plays for him. Get Kyle Juszczyk involved. Kyle Juszczyk's the only fullback that you can run up the seam, which you saw this week, and actually hit him on passes.
That's the explosive play now that Debo's out. It's Juszczyk.
It's got to be. I mean, get that wheel route back, right? Like even that 2019 game, you can look at it, right, and say, well, Seattle starts to get back in the game, and Kyle's like, all right, I've got to shut this off right now. And he runs that wheel route with Juszczyk on Kendricks, boom, big play, and get you right back into your running game. So again, it's all hands on deck. You've got to find a way to game plan around this. You can't allow this Debo not being here to be the reason you lose this game. You just can't. And again, the 49ers have to win this game. I don't want to overstate the importance, and I understand the history and all that, but you have to win this game. Two reasons you have to win this game. Seattle's absolutely wounded, and they're playing terribly right now. And they have nobody in their backfield at this point. Like, they are so desperate they brought Adrian Peterson in. That's how desperate they are at this point. You have to be able to you have to be able to put a bad team away. Forget the history and everything, but you have to be able to beat a bad team.
Don't tell me you're a contender and you can't beat Seattle. You have chances. Don't tell me that.
Correct.
So that's why I even bring this up. It's like this is a must-win game. It's all hands on deck. If something goes left, don't be surprised if Kyle Shanahan does something surprising. But I don't really expect something to go. The Niners are better than the Seahawks.
They are.
This only happens if like Jimmy throws 2 picks in the first half, which did he do that last year? He did do 1. Anyway.
In the ankle game, I think he threw 1 or 2. Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's answer some questions and then get to Jimmy time. Is Armstead injured? Haven't seen him all year.
PFF's grading him highly.
Hey, he's got that going for him, and a lot of money.
That he's the highest. He's the highest graded coverage of player for the 49ers. He has 4 coverage snaps, and he's the highest graded. I love PFF, man.
Love that too. Barry Baller says off topic 2 quarterback, Taysom Hill or Teddy B.
Taysom. Superflex League. Taysom. I'm rolling Taysom too, Eric. I'm with you, man. I'm rolling him and Derek Carr, so let's get it.
Seattle could be 0-11. I'd still be worried Russ owns us. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw every single game out, and it doesn't matter. That's exactly the right way to look at it for sure.
Anthony Adams says Josh Norman couldn't cover an ass if he was an oversized pair of boxers. As for Trey, his legs will give them fits. Play him. Pete is Jimbo's pappy. Damn. That's what I'm saying, man. If it's looking like that early, that the Seahawks and Pete Carroll have Jimbo's number, I'm not losing this game. I'm not losing this game if I'm Kyle. If I'm Kyle, I'm winning. That's my strategy. That's my strategy.
So just win the game is the advice. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, absolutely. If Trey was starting and the run was a real threat, the play action would be there, and Kyle Shanahan could take the lid off of fading rival if wishes were fishes. It's so right.
With candy and nuts.
It's the Niners don't even do play action anymore because of Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, it's the right strategy to boost his value. He doesn't really process information well, and in the shotgun, you get like an extra second to see something. So yeah, it's good for him. But really, for the offense, you want dude under center. Just saying. That's why they drafted Trey.
They don't like him playing back to the defense.
Nope. Debo said the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts, Grant? Well, he's going to need to be healthy for that to happen. So
I mean,
Appreciate your
he said he's going to be back for the Bengals game. That it's just this week. That's it. Like that was the other thing. I mean, everybody's talking about that Super Bowl quote, but he said I'm going to be playing against Cincinnati. So that's all that you should really be excited about. What is he supposed to say?
True.
We're going to lose in the first round.
Yeah. Lowered expectations. All right, let's watch some film. Let's watch.
All right, cool. Let me share my screen real quick. So again,
Isaac says play Norman at linebacker. Play the ball from. I don't think so, but I like that.
So look, this isn't going to be a bash session, right? This is literally just going to be what we saw in this game, and it's just so crazy to me that the parallels between one literal bad throw and then another throw that you're just like, wow. And I think that's what encapsulates the Jimmy G experience. So we're gonna start here. So obviously you see Debo in motion and he's going. Now, look, this isn't a throw that he should be making at this point. He has a clean pocket. The problem is this locking onto one receiver right here. Like, look, even Trent Williams loses this rep a little bit here. If you notice down the bottom, right? Yeah. So he's got a guy barreling down on him a little bit, but look.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you have enough time to look right and then look back. I mean, before that, like look back and you've got a big gain. Now here's what I want to point out. Watch Kittle. Look, what did Kittle just do? Oh my goodness, man. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's that sort of thing, right? So look, it's not a great throw, obviously, but what you're looking at is, look, this is again, smarts for the quarterback, like understanding coverages, understanding where guys are, where the throw is, where the throws are going to be. And look, he's even got his head somewhat in the right direction. That's the thing. Look at the back of the helmet. You know where this route is going to. And yet, I'm just going to throw this one up and overthrow it and just airmail it. And look at this. Like, that might not be a touchdown, but my goodness, man, just put it in his area. Like, it's like, just what? Yeah. So that's bad, Jimmy, right? Okay. All right. This is good, Jimmy. Literally, I think on the same drive as well. You guys can see all that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this is 3rd and 6. You got to have it right here, right? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at Jennings. Where is he? Jennings is up here at the top. Okay. So this looks like a little bit of man, but you've got the linebacker sinking, and all right. So what I want to point out here is this. That looks like a tight throw, right? And it looks like it's about to get touched. But here's what Jimmy did great here: is he looks left and he holds the safety in the middle of the single high just for enough time to let it rip and get it in there on 3rd and 6. And that's a big target. So you put it in a place that he could only get it, right? So, but you're going to see it from this angle better. Okay. So you recognize that the single safety is there, and watch his head, watch the back of the helmet, looking left enough. Now you look right. Now it looks like he's looking at Sherfield, right? And that holds that single high up here a little bit longer, and boom, you're able to go back there. And that was enough right there. That was enough to keep him away from that. That's good, Jimmy. That's good, Jimmy. Right? There's plenty of instances of him going through progressions and actually holding single high safeties at the right place. Okay. Now, bad Jimmy, the interception. And everybody always wants to make the joke about underneath linebacker, right? But I'm going to give a lot of credit to Harrison Smith here, because Harrison Smith was in his lane right here and then jumped the route. So again, you're looking, Jimmy, look, he's watching Jimmy right here, and he's locked on to Debo. He's locked on to Debo. Look, if you come back to Kittle, that's not like a gainer or anything like that, but it's there. It's right there. But you're locked on to Samuel. And Harrison Smith is too smart to allow you to just lock on to him. Boom. You just jump it, because the route's coming this way anyway. The route is coming his way. He doesn't have to do anything but read the eyes, and boom, it's an interception. Like, it's, again, understanding the coverages. I'm not going to say that that's the underneath linebacker thing again, because that's the joke, that everybody has with that. Like, even look, Harrison Smith is looking, and he's floating, right? And look, Jimmy's looking left. Like, he's not like right away locked on him. And then look, boom, by the time he turns here, Harrison Smith is breaking on that, because he knows the route concept. He knows what he wants to do here. And once he locks on him and lets it go, you're throwing it into a place that only Harrison Smith was going to be able to get it. Bad Jimmy. Bad Jimmy there. Bad Jimmy. Okay. Good Jimmy. But this is also good Kyle. And what I want to point out here is that this is a very, very quick throw. It's not going to, knock your socks off or anything like that. But these are the sort of throws that Kyle feels confident setting up for Jimmy Garoppolo, right? We got Charlie Warner down here. That's Grant's favorite tight end. All right. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see Deebo Samuel come. They're going to show the two back set. They're going to send Elijah Mitchell this way, which is the speed option right there. And you're going to see it. Look, he goes, and it looks like they're setting up the bubble screen, right? Now watch Charlie Warner. He looks like he's setting up the block, and then foot in the ground. It's an easy slant throw. Look at that window because the linebacker right there bit. Good throw. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, and that's again, and that's all based on, motion, what Kyle does with the window dressing and everything as well, too. Because look, you're gonna see everybody kind of pay attention to Mitchell. When you act like you're about to block, he's running for Kittle as well, too. When you act like you're about to block, everybody kind of reacts to that, and then boom, you get an easy throw for him, and he hits it. And look, that doesn't look like much, but those are the sort of plays that Kyle Shanahan has been drawing up for him to get him going. All right. Bad Jimmy here. This is an easy underneath throw right here to Elijah Mitchell. Okay. Yep. And look, it's a whip route, whatever you want to call it. There's a few ways to call it, for Elijah Mitchell. Overthrows it. Now, the overthrow is one thing. What I want to point to is this, and this is the part that is kind of maddening for me, at least when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. All right. Look at his toes. Look at his feet. Why are you on your toes? There's no one around you. There's no one near you, right? Yeah. And look, he's going through progressions too. Like, I want you to notice this. Left. Now look, it looks again. Okay, this isn't there. Now you know where the check down is. Look at his feet though. Like, what are you doing? And just get it to him. Come and look, after he throws it. Look at him standing right there. Dude, settle your feet. Relax, man.
He's fading away with no one around him. Like he's reacting to pressure that isn't there.
And I'm not going to act like that's easy, right? Because you're sitting in that pocket. You don't know who's about to come from behind you, right? Like you think that something's coming, but dude,
his footwork is awful there. That's why he missed high, because of his feet.
Yeah, settle in, dude. Like the throw was right there for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the same drive, this is so maddening. This is what I'm talking about, the Jimmy G experience. The same drive, literally one of the best throws in this game. It's unbelievable, this throw. So this is the 2-minute drill before the half. You bring use check here. Obviously, the throw is going to go to Ayuk here, right? And what you're going to see is, look, he's looking right, but there's 3 guys here, so it's not like somebody could say that he's locked on to anybody. And now, look, this is a tight window right here, this throw here.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, wow. And you know what? If he floats that up a little bit more than 55, what's his name? Is that that's Anthony Barr. Mm-hmm. Barr has a chance to get in there and get his hands on it. But he gripped it and ripped it. Like, look, again, starts left with his eyes, looks right, and look, quick throw, ripped it. Like, that's like if Aaron Rodgers made that throw, if Pat Mahomes made that throw, everybody, oh my God, look at that. Like, that's what's maddening. In one play, you have a clean pocket, you can't hit the underneath guy, and then you do something like this and rip this throw right through it. Like, it's maddening. And I think that's what when people say that, oh, well, he's trash, it's more about the inconsistencies I feel like people are upset with, okay? 2 more plays real quick, and then I'll get out of here, okay? 49er fans, I think you're going to know what play this is. This is a very famous play, and it's something that was used. Indianapolis used it against the who did they just play this week? Tampa. They used the same thing. What's this play called, Grant?
I have no idea.
Sprint right option.
Sprint right option. Sorry, I didn't know what we were doing. Sprint right option, of course.
Sprint right option. So what you're going to look at here is just a quick throw, right? That doesn't seem like a tough throw, but it's not an easy throw. So I don't know what to call it. Is it an intermediate throw? It's about ball placement. And look, it's right where it needs to be. Boom, touchdown, you convert. Again, had to have it back-to-back money downs. You get it done right there. So you run the sprint right option with him. You get him right. Boom. That's it. Like, it's so strange to see, like, literally on one drive, one of the worst throws, and then come right back to it. And then what I felt was one of the better throws, if not the best throw, besides that Ayuk one, was this almost touchdown to Trent Sherfield. So what Sherfield's going to run, what Jennings is going to run is he's going to run a whip route, but it's a variation where it floats to the pylon, right? Because that whip route is usually just out and in. That's the same route that he ran on the other side of the field against Philly. Right here, right up here. Remember that one touchdown that he threw at the end of the half. And look, good play by Jennings here. Look, beats his man, balls up, and he makes the adjustment. And I mean, people say that it was a touchdown. Obviously, it just wasn't a touchdown. If I could nitpick this throw, which I guess I shouldn't because they're just going to call me a Jimmy Garoppolo hater, is if he puts it towards the pylon, the back pylon, the corner pylon, it's a touchdown, like a hands down, and he doesn't have to make this play. But it's still a great throw.
Just a little, put it on the end, put it on you don't need to put it out on the sideline like that.
It's still a great throw, right? So I guess like the whole point of all this, and I'll stop sharing right now. The whole point of all this is more just, I think that people need to, the whole Jimmy Garoppolo is trash thing is like, okay, he's not trash. I think you're just frustrated with the inconsistencies, and the inconsistencies are pretty glaring. Like it's so up and down. Like literally on the same drive, you can get that throw to Elijah Mitchell that was anybody should be able to make. And then he literally rips that throw to Ayuk. And then when he's running sprint right option there, ball placement's perfect. It's those inconsistencies that I think the 49er fans are more upset with. And I feel like that's the gripe you should have in terms of, like, Jimmy's never trashed an entire game. After the interception, Kyle Shanahan went and he talked to him and whispered sweet nothings in his ears and nothing but great affirmations. Like, you're great, man. I love you. You're such a good quarterback. I believe in you. And he went back out there and he played better. And that's what you saw in 2019. After interceptions, he went back out there and he played a little bit better. But I think that this game, if anything, was more of an example of the inconsistencies than I can remember, at least in these last few games, especially during this hot streak that he's on right now.
All right. Now, I feel you on that. That was a really good presentation. Now, I'm not a Niner fan. I have my own issues with Jimmy, and the inconsistency is part of it. But I think my biggest issue with him, not my biggest issue, but one of my big issues is like when people point to his best games, they always point to New Orleans, right? Why? Because he made big time throws down the field in that game. He did. And they put him on. He made one. He made one big time throw down the field in that game. And then
the best throw in that game for me in that game was that slant that he ripped to Emmanuel Sanders while when the defender was converging on it. But I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But I mean, he makes those throws every week. That throw was new for him. And then he did it the next week against the Rams, and people were like, oh, snap. And then they called it for him in the Super Bowl, and he missed it by 5 yards. And to me, he hasn't thrown the pass. He really doesn't cut it loose anymore down the field, and that's mental. I mean, he can. His arm isn't that weak. So that's a problem with me. That's a problem for me.
Kyle doesn't call them either.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't either with Jimmy Garoppolo because he doesn't want to throw him.
That first example of Kittle screaming wide open that way, it's like when Kyle sees you miss that and talking about your progressions, he just rips it out of the playbook. He's like, all right, we're not going back to that.
Fine.
Yeah,
all right.
Fine. We're not going back to that. And I think that's the problem more than anything. It's not that he can't rip it. It's that Kyle's like, he's not going to rip it, and I don't believe that he can, and that's the problem.
The one time he basically shamed Jimmy Garoppolo into throwing the ball was in Chicago, and he did it, and he hit it. But really, it's been like 3 or 4 of those throws this year, and it's kind of strange because he used to throw the ball. In 2019, he did it. He did do it, and I think this is still,
He did it in Minnesota too. Like I said, he took him to the sideline. He gave him a bunch of affirmations. Like, this is me paraphrasing basically what Kyle told him on the sideline. Hey, shake it off, big guy. You're great. We love you, man. And I think you're going to be fine. Let's just go back out there and shake it off. That's what I think Kyle said to him. Obviously, I'm being facetious. I think
so too. That's because that's Kyle's style. He's a positive, upbeat guy.
If anybody loves affirmations, it's Kyle Shanahan, and he loves to uplift his players. So
yeah, is Trey the second best weapon on the team? I think so. Hey man, the world may never know. He's like a Tootsie Roll Pop. You just may never know. I don't know, because people say stuff like Trey just isn't ready. Like, dude, how do you know? Because they told you. I'm not going to say what Trey is. I'd like to see for myself one day. One day.
Apparently, rookies, when they get reps, they play better. Ask Elijah Mitchell.
Ask every second-year quarterback who's doing pretty well right now. All of them are doing well. Have you noticed that? All of them.
Hey, look, right. But right now, the problem is this. And I was the person who was telling you guys, I want Trey Lance to start right away. You need to rip the Band-Aid off, just move on from Jimmy. But as long as they win games, you ain't going to see Trey.
No.
Bottom line.
No. Jason, thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching us instead of the Niners press conferences. You made the right choice. You definitely did.
Oh, wow. Niners press conferences are on right now? Oh, my God.
Oops. Sorry. All right. See you guys later. I'll see you in Seattle.
Oh.